Here's Tony Reale.
Cavaliers-Lakers tonight. Momo and the Horst with the story for ESPN. While the Lakers pine for LeBron, his next home remains a mystery. Today, LeBron added to the mystery. He skipped his shoot-around availability. Team spokesperson said he didn't want to deal with silliness. Jackie McMullen, I want to start with you. You were just in Cleveland working on a story. Is all this so silly?
Well, the story isn't silly. The story is fascinating. But you know what? I'm never in favor of players not coming to talk to us. But I actually get where LeBron's coming from on this one.
Okay.
What do you expect him to say? Yes, I'm very interested in L.A., and as soon as these bozos blow it for me, I'm going to be on my way to Hollywood. And I've even picked out my kid's school. I mean, come on, really. There's no point in talking about this now. There is a point in writing it now, and I thought Ramona and Brian did a wonderful job laying it all out. But in terms of the athlete himself standing there and answering questions about something that we don't really know for sure how it's going to go, because it always depends how the season ends for LeBron, how it ends for the Cavaliers, and we don't know the answer to that yet.
The thesis for Ramona and Brian's piece, I think, was that it's a mystery and it's not likely. L.A. not a likely destination. Do you agree with that, Jackie, real quick?
No, I don't think we can say what's likely or unlikely.
Okay.
I think everything's in play except for Boston because Kyrie's there.
Clint Yates?
Yeah, I tend to agree. And let's not forget, look, the industry of where LeBron goes, I think this is just not the right season to try to apply that. There are so many other storylines in this NBA season that are very fun. You've got the situation in OKC. You've got the situation in Boston. You've got what's going on in Houston as well. I don't want to bother with all of this LeBron talk.
So you're not writing
so
this
much
story.
good
If the
basketball
undefeated
happening
says,
right now.
Clinton, get to Cleveland, write a story about LeBron's future, you say, nah, nobody cares about that.
I'm not saying nobody cares. I'm just saying that for once in the NBA, we've got a competitive and a compelling league that on the court is doing just as much as you could in order for, to get fans into it. The LeBron story is a complete aside at this stage of the game.
Frank Isola?
But guess what, though, Clinton? This summer is going to be the summer of LeBron. Last summer was the summer of LeBron. Everybody talks about where he might go, and he kind of adds to the silliness. He does have a house out there. His agent, Rich Paul, was seen sitting with Jeannie Buss at Lakers games. I get it. He has another client on the Lakers. This is all part of it. LeBron doesn't want to address it today because he's going to get asked about Lonzo Ball, LeVar Ball, and why is your agent sitting with Jeannie Buss? So he'll wait until after the game to talk about the game.
Is that smart from LeBron's perspective, Frank?
Oh, absolutely. Come on. He's been through this a million times. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Tim Kalishaw.
Yeah, I mean, I think LeBron is respecting the fact he's a Cleveland Cavalier and they're a pretty good team, and he doesn't really need to be addressing whether he wants to go play for, a pretty average team right now. But I'm with Clinton Yates. NBA more than any other sport, they love to worry about what things are going to be doing 10 months from now.
Okay.
In the middle of a good time, in the middle of good games, a good season. There's a chance he could be a Laker. There's a real good chance he won't be a Laker. It's kind of a dream scenario. But who knows if it'll play out that way.
Isola back in.
Well, they're both right about that. Only in the NBA do you get this. But in terms of where he might go, and I'll buy right into it, it's like in the 90s, the NBA was like Pamplona, Spain. Everyone was running from the Bulls. You didn't want any part of being in the same conference as Michael Jordan. Why would you go in the same division as the Golden State Warriors with about 2-3 good years left in you? It doesn't make any sense.
Jackie, last word.
And that's why you keep hearing the name, the Philadelphia 76ers, because a lot of people think that would make sense for LeBron to go there. But you know what? We don't know. He might stay where he is if things go well. Remember, they're going to have the possibly number one overall pick in the draft. Possibly.
Yeah, all right. One last thing. How much media availability do you people need? We know every single waking thought that LeBron James has. What do we need him before shoot-around, before one of the 82 games of the season? You're all getting muted. We're moving on. Jackie, okay, fine, please, give it to me.
You're so wrong. Shoot-around is about 10 seconds of a media scrum with everybody around. Try getting LeBron James alone. I just spent 3 days trying to do it.
We know everything that's on his mind. If we don't get it from you, we get it from his Instagram page. We get it from his Twitter
well,
page.
That's a whole different kettle of fish.
We'll move on. 25-0 run for the Houston Rockets last night with James Harden on the bench. Repeat, 25-0 run with Harden on the bench. Sentence doesn't even make sense. They are 12-0 with Chris Paul. 9 of those games have been double-digit wins. Tim, what's going on with this team and how real are they?
Oh, I think they're very real, and I think here's what's happened. I think they're harder to play than the Warriors. That doesn't mean in May they're going to be better than the Golden State Warriors, but, the speed, the pace they play at, you got to deal with Harden, you got to deal with Paul. The fact that their best numbers are with James Harden on the bench. That's where they really shine. And he leads the NBA in scoring, and he's shooting 40% from three. So exactly which poison do you want to be out on the floor? Chris Paul last night in that 25-0 run you mentioned, he accounted for 21 of the points. His numbers overall are kind of quiet. Chris Paul numbers, 18 and 9, but he's been phenomenal, and he hasn't lost yet.
Frank, let me ask you this. How much of this is Chris Paul elevating this team to the next level, and how much of it is just, James Harden is playing at MVP level as well?
Well, it's both of that. And, Chris Paul, say what you want about him, I get it. He's never been to a conference final, but he is a leader, and he's a leader in that locker room, and it's going to help James Harden. I was wrong about this, and, I hate saying that I'm wrong. I didn't know it would work out this well. Last year, James Harden against San Antonio, Game 6, 2 for 11, 6 turnovers, 6 fouls. He needed help. He has help. They are 12-0 with the two of them together. Remember, the first win was against the Golden State Warriors. That was an important win.
See why?
It's also a remarkable case of man management from the coach here. I mean, you can try to find a situation in which you get guys together and you force it, hello, OKC, and it just doesn't work out. But the fact that they've been able to figure out the pairings and the rotations in a way that are allowing them to win games by such blowouts, I am very impressed with the Rockets. I won't go so far as to say I was wrong, as Frank did, but you've got to admit, they're having the best record in the NBA. There's no way you can imply that they're not doing it right. I kind of love to watch them. They're kind of my favorite team to watch right now.
Jackie Mack.
So Frank says he hates to say when he's wrong. I hate to do this, but not really. I told you so. I laid it all out for you before the season started, did I not? That the way this was going to work is they were both going to really do well when both of them are together, but even more so when they were both, one was on the floor and one was off the floor.
Did you think they were going to be this good?
I thought they would contend for the NBA championship, and that's what they're doing. It's still early. There's still a lot of basketball to be played. But this makes sense to me. And everybody said Chris Paul couldn't do this, and I never understood why. Chris Paul wants more than anything to have people like Frank stop talking about the fact that he's never been to the conference finals. And how do you do that? You take the role you were given and you make the very most of it. His whole legacy in his mind is on the line, and I would say he's handling it pretty well.
Isola back in.
Let's go get the tape of Jackie saying that Chris Paul will get hurt, and by the second game of the season, he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. That will allow them to just play the way they had been playing, with James Harden running everything, and then Chris Paul working his way into the lineup. It worked out perfectly. You never want to see anybody get hurt, but that actually helped the Houston Rockets.
When Jackie tells us something about a team, we should listen. When Jackie tells us something about whether a coach is going to stay or not, we should probably run the other direction.
Well played, Kalishaw. Okay.
Fair enough.
Yates, last word on this? Or not? No.
Okay.
You don't need to say anything else. You're content with your 8 points, and you're happy to see Kalishaw, Sol, and McMullen mix it up. All right.
I'm just learning. I'm here.
Maybe you got something on Thunder Pacers last night. Okay, see, 5-point win. Paul George game? People thought. Vic Oladipo game? People thought. It was the Steven Adams game. OKC's big three was 10 for 45. About that, Melo said, they were too open. They don't know how to shoot when they're that open. But Adams carried the Thunder to the win. What's your takeaway from this, Clinton?
My takeaway is that OKC really needed this win. I mean, look, I understand that the Paul George situation was one that Indiana fans are going to scream and yell about. That's a whole other discussion in terms of how they feel about why he left town. But I think this is something that they needed to get over. They obviously haven't been able to figure out from an offensive standpoint. So being able to go in there and get an actual W when they didn't necessarily look that great, very important.
So you're not focusing on the 10 of 45 at all from their big three who have yet to really play like a big three? Okay.
I told you, I never thought that was going to work to begin with. And so if they can finally get a win, even though they don't manage to do it well together, they've got a longer-term problem. But specifically in terms of the psychology of George himself, that was very important.
Your view of it, Jackie?
Well, the psychology of George last night was, pretty shaky. He had a tough game, but I think he's human. I totally excuse that. I didn't even look at the numbers. I thought what was great for him was the way he played Oladipo so tough, as if to say, all right, you think he's your next superstar? Watch me D up on him. Let's see how he does. So you can't make grand pronouncements about a single game like this, other than, obviously, the Pacer fans are saying, don't let the door hit you on the way out to Paul George. I think someday they may regret that sentiment, because I still think Paul George is an elite player. But to Clinton's point, does he fit as an elite player with this group?
Kalishaw.
I don't know why it's very hard for me to hear an admission and without feeling a need to confess myself. I'm not saying I was wrong on this. I did say Oklahoma City would be better than Houston. I think the jury's still out on that. It's early in the season. We could have a long time before we really know that answer. However, for last night's game, I do think it was important that they won, and it wasn't a great game a great offensive game for any of those guys. They have to know now, look, it's possible, and we know we're going to shoot better than this. We've got to figure out why. Billy Donovan says they don't touch the ball often enough. They go 4 or 5 possessions without touching the ball. They got to figure out ball movement, but I think it still could be an important.
You don't agree with Carmelo Anthony that they're too open?
That seems odd. That
does seem a little bit odd, yes. Just too open, I can't shoot. Frank Isola.
Yeah, we missed those quotes in New York. Thankfully, he'll be back on Saturday. You know, Paul George, the last 4 games, has more turnovers than field goals. Something is not working offensively. And as much as I love Carmelo Anthony, Saturday night he comes to the Garden. Let him, get introduced. The crowd will cheer. And then after that time, seriously consider, if you're Billy Donovan, bringing him off the bench. You got to try something different. It's not working. You're 13 and you're 1 game under 500. Carmelo was better when he played for the U.S. Olympic team coming off the bench. Let him come in, just be a scorer. That's what I would do.
Jack, you agree with that?
Only to a point. I mean, Carmelo as the Team USA guy, that's what they're trying to do, Frank. It just isn't working. I think Melo was okay with that as long as he wasn't coming off the bench. You know him better than I do. How much is he really going to like that?
At some point, you have to stop asking yourself, is Melo okay with this? Is Paul George okay with this? I mean, this is Russell Westbrook's team. He just
Dwayne Wade did it.
$250 million. Exactly.
Dwayne Wade is doing it.
So if everybody's so hypersensitive and worried about everybody's feelings, just mute people and move on. Let's take it a break. Fire to sell in 2 minutes.
Around the Horn is brought to you by the original light beer, Miller Lite, Hold True, and Cricket Wireless, something to smile about.
First here.
Nationals preliminary talks with Bryce Harper and Scott Boras about an extension. What have we heard in the past? 400 million, $500 million? Let me ask you guys this, with the Marlins just now moving heaven and gift baskets to get out of the $300 million they owed Giancarlo Stanton, and other deals in history. A-Rod, the big deal. Albert Pujols, the big deal. Should those proceedings have any effect on how the Nats work this contract with Harper? Clinton, this is your account. You can start us off.
Absolutely not. The Nationals are a team that without Bryce Harper simply do not have an identity in Major League Baseball. This is not a scenario like when they signed Jason Worth, when they needed to sort of establish themselves as a big league team to make sure other people can come there. That's happened. They're 10 plus years into the situation in D.C., and if he goes away, it rips the heart out from the fans. The money is almost not even an issue here. You just have to have the most exciting players in Major League.
That is great points you made. I love when someone says the money is not an issue and it's not their money. It's wonderful. It really is. Jackie back. How about you?
Well, I agree with you, Clinton, with just about everything you said except for this. The identity of the Nationals is something you're not going to like. It's the team that can never, ever win when they're supposed to in the postseason, and Bryce Harper has been part of that. Now, I'm not saying Bryce Harper is the reason. I would sign Bryce Harper to my team because I think he's one of the great young players in the game. But, Tony, your point of the long-term deals and how it hamstrings teams from adding the other pieces they need to win it all is a good one.
Okay.
And so, if you give Bryce Harper all that money, do you have enough money left over to do what you need to finally be the team that does win it all so people like me don't make your team a punch line?
Okay, but now that you said the point that I had was a good one, and I thank you for that, saying that these long deals haven't worked, you also brought up Washington not having won recently or ever.
Right.
That was the case for Boston, and then they needed the big deals with Pedro and Manny Ramirez to stabilize their team, which is exactly Clinton's point. Let's see if we can bring in Kalashaw here or somebody else.
We can bring in Kalashaw here, and what I would say is I don't really care about a team's identity. I would want to look at all those deals, any deal over $200 million, see what the percentage is of teams that even like those deals 5 years into those contracts. The difference with Harper is he's much younger than most guys who get those deals. He's only 25 now. He came to the majors very young, so you can't afford to do it more than you can with Mo.
Frank Isola.
That's the whole story. He's 25 years old. Of course you pay him because Clinton knows there's a baseball team about 8 miles behind me that'll take him a year from now if the Nationals don't. That's why they have to sign him.
Buy or sell 2, Colts Broncos tonight. Oof. Who needs a loss more is what I want to ask. If you're a fan of either of these teams and you're watching, which you might not be, you're only watching to see when you draft. Although Colts head coach Chuck Pagano said he's playing to win. Win or draft? What are we watching? What are we playing for here, Tim?
I think you play to win. Maybe with 1 week to go, you start looking at that sort of thing, but not with 3 games to go and not when the NFL draft. I mean, you see how many guys taken in the top 5 or 6 turn out to be busts. You have no idea what you're getting at this time of year next May.
Frank Isola.
The coach is fighting for his life, so he wants the team to go out there and win. Of course you win. They're going to get a high pick regardless. Just pick the right player. It's not about where you pick, it's who you pick.
Clinton.
As intriguing a question here for me is, if you do draft high, what are you picking? You go in defense? The Andrew Luck situation, has that worked itself out? There's a deeper question here for the Colts. Forget about tonight's game.
Are you suggesting the Colts should consider drafting a quarterback, Clint?
When's the last time you saw that guy play a football game?
Speaking of Andrew Luck, yeah, okay. So you are suggesting the Colts should draft
absolutely.
a quarterback. That's interesting. Jackie, how about you?
I think the Colts should draft a pass rusher to take some pressure off that defense because that defense needs a lot of help. I think Andrew Luck will be back next year, not this year. And you have to win. You got to play to win. If you're going to tank, and I don't really love that word, but if you're going to do that, you lay that groundwork in preseason. That happens long before now. Now you tell your team to go out and do everything you can because if you don't, you're going to lose everybody on that team.
Buy or sell 3. Let's talk about how Wisconsin, West Kentucky ended last night. This is a tie game, 2 seconds left. Wisconsin inbound with 90 feet to go. There's a whistle. The Wisconsin screen on the baseline drew a foul on Western Kentucky for running through the man. Wisconsin got the game-winning free throw. Rick Stansbury, Hilltopper coach, wanted a review to see if the screen was set out of bounds, which would be illegal. There was no review, and the ref said they couldn't review. Frank, what are you buying? What are you selling from this play?
I'm selling the whole thing. Why are the referees deciding what would be a great game? If Wisconsin doesn't score there, the game's going to overtime. I wonder if those were Big Ten officials working that game. That's chicken.
Is there any way we could find out, Frank? Did you put a call in before you got on TV today? I wonder if they were Big Ten officials. Clinton Yates, how about you?
I'm buying it. I mean, I think that play, as whack as it is in the concept of spirit of the game, spirit of the rule versus the game, I mean, it worked. I think that it's something that I don't know that I would coach if I was a basketball teacher of the game, but hey, it's effective.
Jackie Mack?
Knock it.
It worked, but I know if I were a coach, I would not do that. I'm telling you right now, mark my words, the basketball gods will be coming to get them. These kind of things always work out. I believe in the basketball gods. I pray to them every morning. They'll see.
I understand it's legal. I hate the play. I hate players who jump in front of a player's not looking in the backcourt to get run over by those players. I think they're cheap plays. And also, like the ref making the wrong call when he was calling a charge, he made a blocking signal.
Yeah. That was tough to follow there as well.
I got an answer.
What's your answer, Frank Isola?
I'll give it to you tomorrow.
Frank Isola's done. So is Jackie Mack. Kalishaw Yates. Showdown, 2 minutes.
Around the Horn is brought to you by Geico. 50 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
This is the first ever meeting between Tim Kalishaw and Clinton Yates in Showdown. Whoever wins it controls the hand for the rest of their relationship. Good luck. The Jameer Nelson pass here. Giannis is 20 feet away. Did you think he was going to block him? And what do you think of the decision to kick out for 3 and to hit the 3, Kalishaw?
I reluctantly am going to give Jameer credit for the pass, but I really hate the pass because we all wanted to see when Giannis blocked the shot, would it sail all the way to midcourt before it bounced? I think it would have.
Got to give Jameer Nelson credit here. I'm sorry, did you know that he was still in the league? When you're a guy that's making decisions based on things like that, got to give the credit to the veteran. Savvy maneuver.
All right, big picture. Credit for being in the league. Point, Clinton Yates. Showdown 2, better goal. PK Subban from center ice last night. Or Gaudreau's sideways shootout goal from Tuesday, Clinton.
This has to be Johnny Hockey. I mean, look, PK's goal was nice and all, but you should not be scoring from that far out on the ice. And, by the way, we love Johnny Hockey because he trademarked his own nickname. Once again, playing the long game.
Yeah, Clinton's right about that, and I'm trying to figure out what to do about it. I will just say this, that no one has given the Calgary Flames more love on this show than me through the years, Johnny Gaudreau. So there's that.
Yeah. Okay, there is that. You wanted a point. You could have said you've been waiting for Gaudreau talk on this show for the last 3 years. There we go. That's how you would have gotten the point, Kalish. Shall we move on? We all know the shoot to win promotion. Vancouver last night. Canucks fan. Hit the 3rd. He won a car, and this is how he celebrated. Tim, just enough emotion? Too much emotion? Or not enough emotion?
Just the right amount of very, very Canadian emotion. He didn't say much before when he was being interviewed. He didn't do much after he got it. He's going to get in the car. He said it's a long drive home, but it's okay. That's very Canadian.
Yeah, but as importantly, the clip that we didn't show there is that when he gets in the car, he takes the stick with him, which is so great because he knows where his bread is buttered. I love this guy. Small emotion, knows how to keep.
I love all emotion. When did we stop caring about people's emotions? That's what I ask you. Point, FaceTime, Clinton Yates.
Charles Barkley was on Wingo and Golic this morning, and he said something about LeVar Ball that doesn't make a lot of sense. People want to say that he's exploiting his kids as if, number one, he wasn't the one who taught them how to play basketball, he wasn't the one who trained them in a physical manner, and he wasn't the one who started a business for the purposes of handing along to his children. You can't say that he's exploiting them when he's trying to build something bigger than the systems that we have in place right now.
Congratulations, Clinton Yates. Not just for being the last person who cares about LeVar Ball, but also for the win over Tim Callis, Sean. Showdown 1 between the two. We're on a 23.5 hour.